addressed because I am having trouble snoring, and there are times I didn't realize it. My wife said I'm stopping breathing sometimes, and what it does is it affects it puts you into. Think about it this way: the person that goes through the war and sees a bunch of bombs and comes home with post-traumatic stress disorder, that's what stopping breathing. It's the way you separate the nervous system, and you think that you're good. You're not as good as you could be. You're not as settled, you're not as relaxed, and in fact, it affects the heart, the digestive system, it affects the components. And so there's multiple ways of opening the airway and getting more clear. And I'm not a big fan of passive action. So the real answer is actually structure, fixing the structure, getting the structure. So I would say next time if you get ready to get them up, and you say, oh, Tuesday, you want me to have these? No, I would actually say, while we get them on, could we, maybe you didn't know this, but can we address this?
I'd like to welcome everyone here tonight.
So I get better anyway.
Hello. I'd like to welcome everybody, get everybody here. We may be not Baptists and move to the front if we need to. But anyway, we'll welcome y'all out. Tell you that y'all that don't know me, know most of the people in this room. My name is Blake Blake. I'm the mayor of the city of Lawrenceburg. Beautiful day, beautiful hometown of Lawrenceburg, born and raised here. For y'all that don't know that, again, born and raised here, left for a little while, went off to school in Memphis, stayed there for about 8 years, played football there a little bit, and then came back to Lawrenceburg. Married my wife, Anna, who's in the room there, my daughter, Francesca. But anyway, wanted to come out tonight. Somebody asked what the format was this tonight. It's very open. This is just really what's on your mind, questions across the board. I know everybody wants to talk about the data center, but I'm sure there's people that want to know everything from the gazebo to what's next, what we're doing on Springer Road, what new industries are looking at us. Everything's on the table that you would like to know. So just we'll talk about that. So we'll try to be people's time. We'll try to get out of here at a decent time, but I'll stay as long as anybody wants to sit and talk about it. So with that being said, I'll open it up for questions.
When I went into the meeting this morning that you were at, which I appreciate, and it's the first time I drove by the square and saw that the gazebo was missing, or as I like to call, or used to call, the bum hut. And I'm so glad that you guys are working on that. I'm so glad that it is being addressed. So I don't know what's happening with it, but it's been in my mind, and it's not because structurally, but it's because of how it's being occupied over the past year or so.
Well, it was nothing because of how it was being occupied.
Oh, I get it.
Everybody, if you didn't know, anybody has as much right to any public space as anybody else. No different than me and you getting a coffee and going sitting over there. A homeless can go sit in there just like anybody else. So that being said, that structure, we've been talking about that structure for about 4 years. It was originally constructed in the late 70s, early 80s. And it was built.
1992.
Well, Jimbo Parks and Jimbo and Chunky and somebody else they were telling the story about building it. Okay, 92 then. They told me it was older than that because Chunky and them were telling me the other morning. But anyway, the thing had gotten, it was rotten. The wood, and also, if y'all had never noticed, the steps up caused a lot of problems. Older people trying to step up. Just anybody, the steps are a no-no in anything in government anymore when you're doing that. So we took it, we tore it down. We're looking at different designs for that, what it's going to look like. But again, it was time for it to go.
Another pavilion, is that what we're doing?
Yeah, that's what we're looking at. Something we're actually just talking about it. There's different ideas coming in from Main Street, from Chamber, from everybody else. I welcome any ideas from that. Something that mirrors what we had. That was a real soft, easy, nice setup. Good feel about it. You sat out there, you enjoyed it, and it was a good look for us.
It was, there was a lot of donated material in town, and
Yes.
it's not done with all city money.
No, I don't think there
What about
was
the
any.
new one, we're gonna have that same thing, or we're gonna dig into our pockets and stuff?
Well, I'm sure we'll have to, tax money will probably pay for this one. Unless somebody wants to donate, we will take donations, no doubt.
I'm sure they would.
We definitely will. But anyway, yeah, that
But
was,
that area is nice in Christmas and it's nice in other gatherings and stuff like that. I really enjoyed, that whole area park, in the summertime when they do movies and stuff like that. So I look forward for that to getting that.
the downtown has really came to life with the new restaurants down here. The sidewalk project that we completed about 3 years ago has been wonderful. You see the new businesses that are coming here. The whole thing, and this is what we talk about and what government does, is we don't create businesses, we don't create things like that. Now, what we do is create an environment that makes it inviting for private people to invest their monies in it. You see the new meat shop around the corner, the
Yes.
new bakery, other things that are happening down here.
And then also it's the first time that I noticed, so in the area where the farmer's market used to be, it looks like there's structures that are going up there. Can you talk about that, what those are gonna be?
Down, I'm not sure what that's.
So if you,
Jeremy Gobble's project.
yeah,
Over here.
mhm.
Yes, that right there is the new development on housing. I think there's 16 units in all. Again, there's a big demand for people wanting to live downtown.
Yes.
To be a part of that, the walking, the environment down here, you can walk to eat, you can do that, you don't have to ever get in your car. So there's a real push to be there. The Airbnbs that are beginning to develop down here too is pretty interesting to watch too.
Speaking about the Airbnbs, I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Do we have any ordinances or anything to oversee that in Lawrence County? Because a lot of places like Davidson County, Murfreesboro, Rutherford County, it's causing the rents to rise because of the Airbnbs, because it's taking away homes for people to rent. I'd like you to address that, if you would.
We haven't seen that. Now I will tell you, our normal rents have went up in Lawrence County. You can look demand on that, and with growth and things that are happening, that's part of it. And you're seeing the new investment that's coming into the town. We don't really have anything to put caps or things like that on it. It's a free market system.
Well, as we continue to grow, I think we need to look at that. You look at Davidson County, Rutherford County, Murray County, they're all having to address that. So with the growth that we see coming here, and we better to get ahead of that, I think, than to get in behind.
Well, one of the things that I will tell you, I serve on the TML board, Tennessee Municipal League, and that's a group of mayors across the state. And one of the things that we talk about is, quote, affordable housing. Well, affordable housing in Lawrenceburg is different than what it is in Chattanooga and Memphis and that, because we have a group among our mayors that we're wanting to try to do something at the state level. Well, there's not really anything to do at the state level. There's too much disparity in the two.
Right.
So,
Right, they tried that with Davidson
Yeah.
County, too. The state legislature wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot model.
but
So Davidson County, they're having to address this now.
yeah.
And it's
That's a-
becoming a
that's a
real
good
problem because it's displaced people that live in the area by having so many Airbnbs. I mean, it's more money for the people that own the property. I get that. They should be able to do that, but it limits the amount of rental space for people to move into that's affordable, then it doesn't become an issue.
It's all a balancing act. And then on the same thing, we've got 2 new hotels that have opened up in the last 2 years. And they're competing for that customer that would stay at the Airbnb. So it's a balancing act. And again, government can't pick and choose winners. That's just the way it is. That the private sector has to make their decisions because it's their money, how they're doing it. But good point.
Well, I mean, my only deal is we need to be overseeing that and watching this thing change. Because we all know in the last 5 years, a lot of things have changed right here in Lawrence County. And continue to change. And some of the stuff is just not being addressed. We don't figure out what the problem is when it's already landed. That's the thing we're gonna have to do differently here.
Gotcha.
I think everybody needs to get in on that.
Do you have a timeline on the completion of the new pavilion?
No, we don't. We don't. We're looking at several designs, like I said. It just became very apparent that it wasn't safe to continue to leave it up.
Are those gonna be bid out to local builders?
Either that or we're looking at several different kits. There's some kit stuff that's pretty impressive now, how they can do outside. The Veterans Park Pavilion down there was a bid out, prepackaged deal, kit that we were able to use. So, yeah.
At what public meetings was it discussed about the pavilion being destroyed? I think we were all a little surprised when we saw on Facebook the excavator or whatever machinery that is that knocked it down. At what public meetings was that discussed, so we can look at the minutes of that?
As far as in the minutes, I mean, there's things that happen every day in the city of Lawrenceburg that you don't have a formal minute. Let's get together and talk about tearing down the pavilion. The pavilion was deemed unsafe. Give you a prime example, the same thing. Eventually we'll be tearing down the old armory.
Can we see reports where these are actually deemed unsafe? Where we can see who reported on this, and, complaints that were made by the
You can
citizens?
talk to.
But will it be publicly available that we can see this
You can
information?
talk to our codes, because our codes that does all the inspections and one. Whether there's a written down document, 4 pages thick, I don't know. But I'm just telling you, you could walk on it all up there, when they were putting Christmas lights up there.
So the chief building official looked at it, determined that it was becoming unsafe, the wood was rotting, and that it was no longer repairable.
And what city meeting was that talked about?
Do we have a report stating that?
Yeah, where is the report
Is
that
this
says
just
it,
something
the city meeting?
Something that's just verbal,
Verbal.
that's what I thought.
Yeah.
So it was never brought to the public's awareness until it was actually being taken down, or already destroyed?
Pretty much. Do
And
you
now
think
we're
that's
just
the way to
thinking-
do that? Can we do that or don't that kind of thing?
I will tell you.
They keep everything in the public's eye.
One of the most difficult things in the world right now, and if you'd come to the meeting before when we had this, one of the most difficult thing to do right now is communications, okay?
I agree with that.
Used to, you had to do 2 things. You put it in the newspaper and you went on the radio, and everybody in Lawrenceburg knew what you were doing. And then you'd walk over to Ledbetter's and talk to the guys over there, and it'd spread out through there and get to Pat's Cafe. Everybody lives in their own little media now.
But with the social media we have today, people are very informed today than they've ever been.
It's not though.
Well,
Everybody gets their
I think there's
news.
a reason for that.
Everybody gets their news from a little piece on Facebook, or gets their news from a little thing on that.
I agree with that.
Yeah, why not send it in the mail?
Okay.
Advocate or on the radio?
Yeah. On which day?
But apparently there was no news. You're saying there was no public meeting about it, no public discussion.
Well, we also did.
So there was no news.
We also didn't tell you we put new roofs on the gym. I didn't also tell you we fixed the swimming pool and the slide.
That's
I don't know how you communicate on all of this.
That's repairing,
This-
not destruction.
Well, this was, it had to be going. It needed to be going before somebody really got hurt.
It's our taxpayer dollars though, so why aren't we actually seeing how our taxpayer dollars are being spent? I would like to know what roofs were being replaced, what needed to be fixed at the swimming pool, why are these not actually being
You're more than
discussed?
welcome to come to any city meeting you would like, ask and be a part of any meeting.
It's being done at the public city council meetings that are twice a month, and these are being
We talk
discussed.
about new roofs, because we passed the
I
roofs
think
on
the
the
biggest
gym.
thing everybody's worried about is not enough public input until after the fact. And I think this is where we are.
I think that's why you have a house full of people here to talk about the data centers and all the other things that are coming up for the concern of not enough transparency and not enough public input and concern. Like that material could have been salvaged. Those are expensive turn things. Yes, they are.
Okay.
So somebody would take it.
We'll just, you have an opinion on that,
But
okay?
how much did you spend to crush it, and how much do you think you'll spend to do it? Shouldn't that be part of the planning process? I just think that is one example. It's a shock
Yeah.
to see it.
So I'm the city administrator for Lawrenceburg, and I can tell you that we make 1,000 decisions a day without public meetings because we can't. We don't ask the public where the police should patrol. We don't have a public meeting on whether we patch a pothole. we don't have a public meeting about fixing a park or fixing the pool that's leaking just before the time when we're opening it up to the kids and to the public. It's not real to expect that everything that we do every day is going to have the public weigh in. For that matter, she talked about being a taxpayer. I'm guessing half the people in this room aren't actually Lawrenceburg taxpayers.
I spend money all the time in Lawrenceburg. Every single day I spend money in Lawrenceburg.
It doesn't matter if the county or
All my money, I'll spend it somewhere else.
All good,
that would be
okay.
like Lawrence,
All good, Dan.
saying they're not in part of Lawrence County, that's ridiculous.
Again, that's what we're here for, to talk, okay? So let's continue to do that.
And I can say that I personally understand why some things administratively have to be done, and they have to be done quickly, and they have to have a decision made. But then there's other things where a public process, because if you get some things, the public process can put a kibosh on something and slow something down. So what I can see is there's a balance, and that's what I think would be helpful, is a balance in terms of being able to.
We talk about communications, and I know y'all do not think that we communicate very well. We talk about communication. Sissy, we have a communications director now, and I talk to her all the time about how you get information out. You know, Scott, we talk, we ride, we show things, we talk about that, with the advocate and DU here. And it is difficult to communicate on everything, because everybody is running at 100 miles an hour, doing things every day. Y'all got lives to live too, and it's difficult. But always pick up the phone. Pick up the phone. If you see something, call somebody, ask them why, what now. Yes, sir.
When something needs to be repaired, that's one issue. When something that is as public as the pavilion or a data center or a new industry comes into the county, those things are much more visible, and people see them. It's too late to pick up the phone and ask a question, why, when it's already torn down. There seems to be, there seems to be a lack of balance here in what impacts the city and the county as a whole, and what's just regular maintenance. When something is public as tearing down a building or changing the landscape, or bringing in an industry that potentially could damage our water table, could damage our lifestyle, these kind of things, many of us feel, and I feel especially, that there's not enough effort put forth in allowing us to know that this is coming down before decisions are finalized.
I agree with that. I think the biggest question is, for me, is why do we have to come and ask? Why aren't we told in the beginning? Why don't you come to us instead of us having to come to you? You guys work for us, and you should want to do what everybody in the county wants done. And we do hire you to do the job. That doesn't mean you have everybody gets a free rein on that without any accountability. That's where I'm at. And I think that's where most people in this room are at today. And we shouldn't have to come to you and ask you why. You should be out there talking to people that this looks like the data center. I kept up with that. I know exactly how it was done. I went through the thing, but it was kind of hidden. But now when we had new restaurants coming into town, Pancake House, boy, that's all over everything. In the newspaper, on Facebook, I want a darn word said about that up there.
I'll tell you a simple solution, and I've run into it in other municipalities because I was a contractor during my careers. Just put up a big red sign, this building is condemned. Let it stay there for about a month, But beyond that, I had another question. I'd like to sort of segue to the data center thing.
Okay.
Now the decision on this rezoning, number one question is how long ago was that, and were you given an estimate on their water draw at that point?
Does everybody understand how projects develop in Lawrenceburg and Lawrence County? Does everybody know
No.
where it comes from? Okay, let's start.
Everybody don't.
Let's,
That's
okay,
part of the problem.
yeah, let's start, okay? In 2001, 2002, there was a group, and they put together a group, and we copied Greenville, Tennessee. Greenville, Tennessee, at that time, in Tupelo, Mississippi, was considered the best economic engines, recruiting business and doing that. So what it is a private and public partnership. And that is with our Chamber of Commerce in the county. The Chamber of Commerce is our economic engine. And so a company is looking at that. And why that's important, a business can go anywhere in the world. With their money, they can go where they want to. Because then they turn around and go, okay, the state of Tennessee, most projects that come to us come either through ECD, economic development from the state, or come from TVA. Both of them work very closely on bringing people to the state of Tennessee. Why that's important is, if you bring somebody to the state of Tennessee, remember Tennessee is competing against Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, and everybody else across it. So they may only get to show a town 3 or 4 times to do that. Everybody's just lined up and going, please, please, let's come to Lawrenceburg. You're actually selling our community and what that community brings. Well, the way that we do that, the TVA or ECD reaches out to economic development, which is the Chamber of Commerce. Then you have to fill out an RFP. An RFP is a request for proposal about what you have. Is it your land? Is it this? What about your utilities? What about electrical? What about this? All the things that make a business decision. Well, that doesn't mean you're even going to get a visit out of that. You hopefully will get a visit. We have been very fortunate. We have what's considered one of the best economic teams in the state of Tennessee. We get an opportunity to get to see just about every business. And think about it, the same team that brought you the cabinets together, that brought you, what else? Magna,
That
brought
brought
you
jobs.
Craig,
Brought jobs.
brought you Craig, brought you one of the best ones, Lumber Liquidators, new company that we got, and not what,
Those are jobs.
jobs,
Yeah,
okay?
brought
They
jobs
brought
to
you,
the area.
they
We're all
brought you
for
that.
that.
Okay, but again, that's the system where it does. And that system begins at one level or another with TVA or ECD. And then it's brought in, and those are looked at and what that means to our community.
I do have a question.
Excuse me, sir, you didn't answer my question. Was there a question, was there an answer for either of those questions? Can you answer those questions? You just gave me a speech about your
No
process.
broad brush.
I thought you asked about how the process works.
No, what I asked you about was when, the meeting that you guys had, where you changed the zoning so that this company could come in. That's what you guys did.
No, okay, again, on property, all right, this is private property, okay? No different than if you own this piece of property. You would come to our planning commission. Your planning commission is where they look at that and they decide zoning changes for that. It was an agricultural site and they asked to have that changed to light industrial.
Right.
Magna is right across the street from it. It's heavy industrial. So that is considered an industrial area up there. You've got Craig Manufacturing, you've got all of that. So all that the city of Lawrenceburg was asked to do was to turn around and rezone a piece of property for a person.
So this was done at a
Can I ask a
meeting.
follow-up to what you
Oh, wait a
said
second,
earlier?
I'd like to get my
Yeah,
question
yeah.
answered. There are 2 questions there.
Got it?
Now, this was discussed at a meeting about the changing the zoning.
At the planning commission.
Yeah, at the planning commission, not with the supervisors involved, not with your,
Not that, it goes to the planning commission first.
the planning commission.
It does not start with the city council.
Was it the company that wanted to come here that approached the planning commission about the zoning change?
The company was not. All that was ever asked,
The
again,
company did not.
the company was not known, okay? Not known. And that's not unusual.
You said it was a property owner first that then
The
said.
property was bought by an individual. This company has never, ever, ever asked or done anything. The city nor county have done anything to bring this company here.
Not even the Chamber of Commerce had no discussion with them about this either, right?
The Chamber of Commerce worked with that business to bring here.
There's-
Okay,
there's-
that economic, yes.
Gotcha.
So I have
Who, one second, we'll get to it. TBA brought us this company, brought the Chamber of Commerce this company. They're the ones that had done due diligence on that company and said, this is a good company, you need to work with this
A
company.
question on that too.
What company name was that specifically? Because there's many names floating out there.
From what I understand, this will only be their second one for this company because.
Okay, let me tell
He
you,
works for us, but he can't tell us.
I'm not allowed to, there's
But
a
you work
company.
for us.
Do you have
Shouldn't
any
we be the front property?
We know now all about it. We have all the information.
Again, when you're dealing with this, it goes from the state of Tennessee to TBA and others. These companies do not want their names locked out, okay? Magna, we did not know Magna was coming, who Magna was. We knew they were a heavy manufacturer, we knew this, we knew this, we knew that. But literally, communities lose businesses because you let the name of the company. And the other thing that happens when a company, yes, when a company comes here, they will actually send people into a town. They'll go to the quick bars, they'll go to the restaurants, they'll go around and talk about the community to the people. How do we react when people come in? What do you think about your community? And again, those are the kind of things, but you blast their name out, they could come in and visit, we start talking about their names, they won't be here. They'll go somewhere else.
Can I just follow up?
We're never gonna get to Arizona, I'm sorry.
Well, you say the Chamber of Commerce, or
That's our
the
economic
Planning Commission made the decision to do the rezoning.
Pretty much.
At what point did the city officers
It
become
comes to
aware or
us.
discuss this or anything?
It comes to us with a positive recommendation from the planning commission to rezone that. And that's been in place, Joyce, since time began.
So the
David
chamber,
Crockett probably went through that.
the chamber brought it to the planning commission, the planning commission brought it to the city council.
No,
I can
the
clear.
planning commission has nothing to do with the Chamber of Commerce. The big company that bought the property fills out all the paperwork, does all that, brings that and presents it. No different, if I owned a piece of property. I would walk in, go meet with Chris Bryant and the planning commission. They would set it up, they would look at that. How's it zoned right now? What's it take to do that? Is there any barriers or any reason to not rezone that? And if there's no reasons to not rezone it, it's rezoned.
You said the TVA brought it to your attention. Did they bring it to the chamber of commerce or did they bring it to the planning commission?
Chamber of Commerce.
Okay, so they
Chamber of
brought it to the chamber of commerce.
There's your link.
Okay, so then how then does it come to the zoning committee? Did the chamber of commerce bring it into TVA, bring it, or did the
Company
private owner then come to the
The
planning?
people who bought the land,
The people who brought the land.
they bought the land and then they said, hey, we need this to rezone to be able to build. So they turned
After
around.
they talked to the chamber of commerce.
So I have some direct questions about conflict of
Did
interest.
we get you?
I want to talk about that. I can clear up the confusion. So, is it true that you acted as an agent on the sale of the property connected to this proposed project and received a commission from that transaction? $65,000 an acre for 6.5 acres, and was city leadership also involved in recruiting additional data centers here? If taxpayer money,
Are
yes
you
or
asking a
no?
question?
Yes or no?
No, I had nothing to do with the property. They went to the landowners directly and bought the property directly. I had nothing to do with this.
But your number is out there, as a realtor, with your phone number is there trying to attract other data centers to come here. That's right.
But no, my number's not out there. That, what you're looking at is that a piece of property that I used to own, the old dam down there, the new dam down there.
Right.
Me and my business partners owned that back in the day, and that's back in 22 or 23 when that posting was. And And it was never anything, and there's another gentleman that owns that property out of Nashville who's promoting that property now.
It's the same
So
company.
it's all
It's
taxpayer money.
Not anymore, it's,
Taxpayer
look who
money.
owns the property, it's Trey something, it's a leftover post, is all it
The
is.
second
I haven't touched that property.
I got a hypothetical question for you.
Hold on,
I just want one more. So the city and the county both fund the budget of the Chamber of Commerce for $500,000, $250,000 each. Is that, and you have the president of the chamber going and making these deals and in quiet and then getting a cent from it. And so,
Stop right there, because you gotta get the other player of this. There's over 500 plus private members of the Chamber of Commerce. I told you it was public-private. How many people in here remember the Chamber of Commerce?
my family
I am.
went to Builders Wine
Right.
Award a couple of years
Okay.
ago.
Okay.
And it's 7
So
years,
there's
okay?
people in here that are members of the Chamber. So they're part of the economic thing that recruits business to this
So
thing.
businesses
So
should
you want
be
to-
Yeah, I'm
supporting
proud
the
of it.
county rather than the county giving tax money to the businesses. That whole model of economic development, we should be focusing our tax dollars on the people who live here and the farmers who grow stuff here and the protecting the land for future generations. That extraction company there's building 4,000 of these. There are 13 of them in Memphis, these data centers. They are predatory. The company just started in August of 2025, and it's all secretive. And it's not like you can't learn from other places. What we've been doing is doing tons of research and finding out how it's working. And so you're just one among many who are being overridden by the interests of tech billionaires, and they're doing it
Now,
everywhere.
you're getting into pure opinions and
No,
stuff.
no.
Okay.
I'm a little bit.
I don't know what
I got a question for you.
I'm just gonna read mine if you don't mind.
Okay.
There's multiple lawsuits across the country with guilty verdicts and millions in fines due to data centers harming the environment in multiple ways, telling the citizens of Lawrenceburg that they are, quote, zero concerns and have plenty of water and power for this Flatwoods Data Center project throws immediate red flags and is misleading when there are 5 proposed data centers for the county that are not being mentioned that will also eat up those resources. So how is Lawrenceburg immune to the issues the rest of the country is facing with data centers and negative impacts?
We have been talking to data centers for 10 years, okay? 10 years, data centers have been calling, they've been coming to TVA. I did some research after I knew I was coming here today, really on data centers and what it means.
Just now?
Well,
Just now?
no. Let me finish what I was talking about. On the numbers of how many there are, there's 60 data centers in Tennessee. There's 4,000 in the US, projected to have another 3,000 added in the next 7 to 10 years, okay? Again, the one thing I have found out is that there's all sorts of different kind of data centers. And there's all over the world, I mean, they're different. They're completely different kind. I got to reading some of this about what these actually are.
Which ones are the good ones?
I think it
We don't create statements, and then we can discuss it. But you gotta let Mike talk.
Yeah, let's get to the meat.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, in looking at the differences in the data centers across, you have these super scaled ones, you have the smaller ones, which I did find the pure name of what we're actually dealing with, which is one of the questions that you asked today about the one that we're actually getting is a.
Closed loop system.
Closed loop.
No, hold on.
What kind of AI does it do?
I ain't saying nothing good about it.
In 50 years, we won't have clean water in this county.
I'm fine. My notes, I'm gonna take very good notes. When you get a chance, look at. George is busy.
Turn it off, please.
We're not being rude. It's the loudspeaker phone though while we're having a meeting.
All right. When you get a chance, look at an INFERENCE data center. Okay?
Say that again, please.
INFERENCE data center.
FDR.
Okay. Let me tell you what that is. It is what they call a booster center. Everybody wonders about the size of this thing. It's only 60,000 square feet. It's this, it's this.
Ryan said it could be up to 100,000.
How many megawatts?
Hold on. We're getting it all here. All right, and what they call, it's a fiber booster is what that is. It's a fiber booster. It is no different than, the way it was explained to me again, it's like a cell tower that is boosting the signals from these other ones to move your data. As you're looking at your phone, that's going to a data center. How many in here's got a telephone? Who's got a telephone? Does anybody How does that data get to your phone?
We have no results.
Listen, if you let Blake talk and explain things, you'll have information. If he hangs himself on his own words, we've got something to catch him on. But you need to let him talk first. Okay, it may be garbage, it may be lies, but if he doesn't talk, you don't know. All we're getting is a bunch of garbage. Let the man talk.
All I can tell you is and I looked at it again from what we had talked about. Again, from noise, okay? Noise was one of the things that you brought out. The only thing on this thing that produced noise are the chillers and the generators, okay? The generators that you want to know about, because I heard y'all mention generators before. It has 2 backup generators, no different than the generators that are at your hospital. The new medical center has a generator. City Hall has a generator. There's a generator. They'll be tested twice a month, is what we've been told. They don't run. They don't run. Every one of those has to meet the federal and state requirements on all of those things. So the only noise is that. Water. Let's talk water, okay? Water. This is a closed loop system, okay? It will be filled and then it's done.
How much?
I'm telling you the information. It's a chiller. Anybody in here see big chiller system? Yes, it is.
There's some chemicals involved.
Well, there's one chemical. Okay, you know what the one chemical is? I know that now, too. Okay. Ethylene glycol. Antifreeze, which is everywhere, anywhere, and there's 2 different kinds of antifreeze. My understanding is that antifreeze is the ones that they put on fruits. They do everything else. It's strictly to make the things not freeze. Wintertime, anything else. Completely, no evaporation in this system. So let me finish on my points here. All right, then let's talk air. All right.
Wait a minute, how much water is it gonna use?
None.
It's not gonna use any
The water, they'll fill it up like your swimming pool,
How
okay?
much? How much? This is what I've read is 100 million gallons
No.
a year.
14,000 was the number that I heard.
14,000 gallons, okay? You use 300 gallons a day in your home. So times that, but
It
that's a
only
one-time
uses
thing.
14,000 gallons?
When you fill up the system, if you talk to Magna has a chiller system, okay? I think Dura has a system. It's strictly fill up. This is not an open loop system, which is a completely different thing that you find when you go. It is a closed system. Water in Lawrenceburg, we have plenty. Okay, no, whoa. We'll step down another road here if y'all want to go down that road. We have 6 million plus extra gallons in the city of Lawrenceburg right now. We're fixing to build today. We're fixing to build another water treatment facility.
Then why don't we help Summertown?
We try, there's two 6-inch lines that run to Summertown. Now, in Summertown chooses either to take our water or not take our water. It's the same thing with Leona. Same thing with Leona. Leona chooses to take water. The state of Tennessee is doing a study. If anybody went to the water study the other day at the county, there's a water study. Okay. No, that was after hours. But anyway, there's a water study of how we can integrate and put our systems together. But Summertown, Leona, these places that we have water. Leona last year used about 22, 23 million gallons of water from the city of Lawrenceburg.
Separate from that, if it's not using water, now I did research today on data centers that use closed loop systems.
Okay.
And one of the ways they do it is with a liquid immersion, so they have a sort of a physics that happens where the cooling happens from a vapor. So they call it two-phase systems, and they said that it works really well. There's one method that costs less, that has more problems with leakage. There's another method that costs more, that tends to not leak. When the other one leaks, you can have destruction of your equipment too. You have to keep these things cool.
Right.
So the system that uses this physics method actually is better. It doesn't leak, but there are a lot of companies that are doing, they call it meter, I think it's called off meter. That's not quite the right word. But they basically generate their own electricity. They can generate their own electricity. They can have 4 to 7 acres of solar panels and create their own electricity. That's more costly, but in the long run, it pays off. So for me, looking at Lawrence County, and I have property in Lawrence County, I think, wouldn't it be great if we really do something that's innovative, and is clean, and that would say something to the rest of Tennessee.
Then they gonna kill the birds and they gonna fuss about that.
You know, you were saying.
I mean, not only planning committee, it might keep our bird off.
Hold on, just a second.
No, Larry, that's another.
Realize with,
You were saying, for all y'all that know, my name's Alex Little, I'm the mayor of Edmond. You said the planning committee made the decision for this, right? They brought it before the planning committee.
What the planning commission did is decide whether that property moved from ag property, because the question was, is there any reason not to rezone that from agricultural to light industrial? That's the only question that it asked. It's Dallas, it's no different if they came in front of you.
But we asked questions on why it's gonna be, why they want it done.
Right.
That's the whole thing.
There was no-
Our planning committee knows exactly what that land is fixing to be used for.
That's the question, their prior knowledge of the planning commission of what was to come in here if they changed that, that's what we wanna know.
So is this a representative government here? If 95% of the people in this county and this city say, we do not want a data center fast and sneaky like this, because we don't know the impact in 20 years of the water system. If we said no, then are you still going to build it anyway?
I couldn't stop Waffle House from coming. Okay? Whoa, let's hang on. This is private. I knew you were like Waffle House.
We're talking about us.
No, again, this is a private company.
But that's wrong.
No.
It's a private company that chooses that. Well, let me ask you, what if you decided, what if you decided all we did, let's say the Murray Regional, New Murray Regional, okay?
Whole different
No,
animal.
no, it all falls in the same line. Yes.
No, we're not provided.
Those things are beneficial.
We're out with oranges and oranges, and we're not doing that. Look,
There's no upside to it.
So who picks and chooses what companies come in? Who picks, if I don't like McDonald's, so I don't want McDonald's here.
No.
You don't like it. No, be careful what slippery slope you're going down.
This is a whole industry that no one wants.
That's political.
You're so hungry. Refresh me quickly.
My hands are.
I know, I'll get you there.
Why are we immune? Y'all are making it sound like we have enough water, enough power, but with more data data centers proposed, especially on the one at the dam, which is more
That's
conservative.
not even proposed. Nobody has seen anything about that.
There's,
I don't know where y'all have seen this. I know the guy that owns this property.
I'm sure y'all allow it.
My business partner sold it to me years ago. And it had nothing to do with that. He thought about making an Airbnb over the dam.
Right.
He's not gonna do that.
they're actively marketing it for a data center right now on Facebook.
That's,
But they're saying this is perfect because you can generate your electricity, you have all this water. This is an ideal location to bring your data center to us.
that's his right, his personal property. You own property.
No,
Yes.
no.
You can market your property tomorrow as a data center.
It's a problem.
No, you have that right, though.
No, the difference is that he cares about the community and
I live
the
on the
people,
Buffalo, I would
and
never
the money
have
is not
that.
everything. His land is on the Buffalo, but he would never in a million years sell it
But he-
for profit
But again, that's
at the
his.
expense of all the people in this room.
Yeah, because a data center,
That's
what
his
is the
choice.
upshot? It's taxes, right?
What are the benefits?
What is the benefit? It's taxes.
Exactly.
Is there anything besides taxes that we can look forward to from these data centers?
What is the one true benefit for Lawrenceburg and Lawrence County for that thing to be in Lawrenceburg?
Exactly. There's no upside, there's no jobs, there's just no upside.
What do you think I
Answer that one. That's an easy answer. What's the true benefit?
the wise people in this
Who's gonna benefit from that?
Can I speak, because I live down the road? Okay, and we're not talking about one data center anymore, we're talking about several coming into Dutton County. Flatwoods Road is Pandora's box and it has been opened. I have just a brief thing, I put it down actually, I would love to share as someone directly impacted by this. My name is Ashley Massey, I was born and raised here. I moved away, but I came back here to have a better life balance so I can focus on school and help out with my family's farm. Still don't have the greatest life balance because I work part-time managing that farm, part-time on my small business, and I work full-time in higher education. I'm really proud to be from here. I'm really proud of our community, especially in the past couple weeks, months. I have really never been more proud. But I'm also embarrassed. I'm embarrassed that while many other leaders and elected officials in other towns in Tennessee and across the nation are actually listening and honoring their citizens' concerns about these data centers and imposing pauses and moratoriums, our leaders are buckling down. In fact, one of those leaders who is non-elected, you're a good friend from what I know, Ryan Egley, just Monday night, he said some things that really changed what I was going to say here tonight. All along, he has been insinuating that the Flatwoods development is a small-scale data center, and it's not massive, it's not hyperscale, so we shouldn't be worried about it. But at the same time, he is working to bring an even bigger center here, so much so he can quickly shoot off exact figures and financial numbers like he did Monday at the commissioner meeting. He is at the same meeting, he is bragging about our rural countryside and Amish tourism, which it brings in so many dollars to this community. And around here, we call that talking out of both sides of your mouth.
Amen.
I know, and I respect you showing up today. Kudos for hearing this and everything. I think some folks assumed that this would go away, it would blow over. I know some of our leaders are not accustomed to public pushback, even though it does come with a position that you signed up for. But you signed up for this. We did not sign up for a data center in our backyard.
Absolutely. Exactly.
And unfortunately, this will be your legacy when the people who make these decisions names are mentioned in 20, 50, maybe even 100 years in front of your great grandkids. I don't know. I don't know. There might be connotations that y'all did not listen to the citizens' concerns enough to protect the environment. Yeah. This land that we cannot get back once it is gone. It is gone from these outside extractive industries who do more harm than good for us. These data centers will cause irreparable harm on people, air, land, animals, plants, and water systems. That is a legacy. I am off the beaten path, as Ryan Egley, I know that's your brother, but as Ryan Egley would call it. The other day, my roosters, though, were on News Channel 5. I knew my daddy was smiling from heaven seeing his roosters on the news. I know he got a kick out of that. And I will speak for myself, this is just for me, when I say, if y'all bring data centers anywhere closer. You're already bringing one 3 miles. Anywhere closer to my roosters, our farm, our land, my cows, my dogs, my cats, my hay, my garden, my pond, my creek, my mama, you will have to run my ass over. I wasn't planning on saying that tonight, but Monday night changed things. You will have to run me over because with my dying breath, I will protect this place.
I'm with her. West of Lawrenceburg, the Cruz Farm is my mother. 200 years on the same land. My mother didn't have running water or electricity in her house. Mama Dot, we call her, Dorothy Cruz, some of you know her. And her legacy to us is how to live simply so others can simply live. We know how to grow everything. Our whole family lived there. And the farm, that is the only wealth that is possible to have in the world. And you share it because you love God, you love your neighbors. All the stuff, my daddy, Ellery Richardson, built 700 houses here. We're part of the Chamber of Commerce, but that service was because he came out of desperate poverty in Summertown, where I moved back to. I moved back home with the hope that there would be some leadership and some visionary leadership to save us from this dominionist thing about having dominion over the land rather than having us realize life, we're all in this together. We have to have water to drink. And for 200 years, the Cherokee were run off of this land by Andrew Jackson, but David Crockett lived on the back of my great-grandmother's farm. And David Crockett taught the Indian removal. He thought we ought to share this land and this water. And even before that, the 10,000 years mind. We have to have the mind of how our 7 generations back and 7 generations forward, this short-sighted profiteering by a handful of people who are on top of the boat, and you're not listening to the people. I see. I've been watching all the posts, and I'm just so amazed how brilliant some of the insights and the research you're doing, and how we've all been learning together. I've been talking to people every single day, including my Amish grandmother friend up there. My daddy grew up like the Amish. And this grandmother, I said, how is this going to affect the 800 of you if this data center comes in? And she said, she had tears in her eyes. She's not going to come down here and protest, and she's not going to sign a petition, but she's got 36 grandchildren, and she deserves for us to speak out on behalf of their life and livelihood. And we're all in it together. We've got our friends at the farm who came here to leave the Vietnam War and have learned how to grow everything and live together in common there. We've got beautiful artistry and things that come out of the farm. We need all of our neighbors, and we need to love them all, and we don't need to find a few that we say God ordains these people to be your masters. Right now, we need to listen to it all.
I want to get back to discuss the planning commission decision. You know, the planning commission evidently decided to change this. So, now, are you saying that they had no idea what the business was?
The data center was posted. George, the data center stuff was all in there. We did everything. We went back and checked. The data center, we posted a sign on the property up there. It was data center. Let's be very clear.
No.
This was our first data center. Nobody said anything bad about a data center. Where we get our information from is the state of Tennessee. We get our information from TVA, and we get that. Where it comes from on that. Nobody had ever said anything about a data center being bad.
You made
data centers are all data centers. Are all data centers bad?
Yeah, they one that's good. That's all we're asking.
Are all data centers bad?
Ask the people that live there when they have that question.
There's only 10 seconds.
Again,
I haven't seen any positive anything about this.
Yes, ma'am.
No.
I talked to 2 engineering firms, and my background is not as an engineer, but with engineering firms. and municipalities, and I served them for about 12 years. So, with the closed loop system, what it's my understanding from a couple of these large engineering firms, one is out of San Antonio, one was in Brown & Brown was out of Dallas. Also, ADS Environmental Services, which is out of Huntsville, and then another one is out of RJN, which is out of Dallas and Fort Worth. Their issues, they didn't really have issues with the closed loop system because many of them have actually built and made money off of the closed loop systems, as part of their business. But in defining the closed loop system, one of the issues that they said that they really had to become conscious of after the fact that is closed loop does not mean forever closed loop. That water will actually be discharged at some, just like your oil in the cars change, it becomes contaminated. And the plant that accepts that, it's either discharged out to a waterway or the plant has to be ready to have some very expensive processes in place to deal with that. And I was just wondering if this, even though this is a smaller data plant, has that been dealt with? And do you know how much water is going to be discharged?
The discharge, what has been explained to us about, again, is a closed loop system. I know everybody's sick of hearing the word closed loop system. My understanding about the whole thing is that it's there, and that, like if your house, you bust a pipe, yeah, there's an opportunity to something to leak, no different than in other plants. There's plants here. What makes this, again, I go back to TDEC. Anybody who's familiar with TDEC in this room, if you've ever done construction and stuff, you know what it is dealing with the EPA and that. The EPA, there's plants right now that produce in Lawrenceburg right now that cannot discharge into our sewer system directly. It has to be treated. They have their own lab. It's checked every weekly. The water's held, and then it can't be discharged until a certain amount. Comes out of flat. So those plants are already operating, been operating here safely for years. This plant does not have to have, TDEC does not say anything about this, nor the EPA is saying anything about this system, this water.
They're also not saying anything about discharges in waterways right now either, but there are growing concerns as these data centers have exploded across our country, not just here, but across our country, that closed loop does not mean closed loop. There's still water to be drained.
And
I read it too, I saw it.
some states even banned them from coming in. There's over 10 or 11 states that has banned data centers.
And there's more that put moratoriums till they can learn more.
Yeah, which I think is a great idea.
Yes.
What assurances or guarantees do we have that this data center is going to process the water, not discharge the water, not going to flush their system? Or do we have any codes or anything that are dependent, that have to meet to prevent them from contaminating our water system? Secondly, Blake, what assurances do we have that this is going to be the only type of data center brought here? Because an AI data center, as you alluded to, is a vastly different animal than a fiber boosting or an inference data center. And they operate differently, they use energy, the whole process is different. What guarantees do we have that we're not going to get an AI data center in this county
yesterday.
that's going to contaminate our community?
We need to be doing something to do.
And he told me that Lawrenceburg Utility System had agreed, and TDEC was looking into it, and their only worry was that the local utility would supply water. And evidently, that utility has studied this problem. I mean, obviously, that's my next call, is to call them up and say, how many gallons, because I can't seem to get a number from you. That's my first question tonight, is how many thousand gallons of water are going to be used a day? I've heard 200,000 to 300,000.
Let me give you an example.
Wait a second, Blake. Let me hear me out. Okay. Now we're saying, I heard the other night on another meeting, it's going to be a closed loop system, and somebody else said it's going to be 200,000 or 300,000 gallons a day. Well, what's the truth? does the Lawrenceburg utility system know? I mean, you know.
Yes.
Oh, they inputs in the
True. I'll give you an example though. It is, and again, the number I had heard was 14,000 gallons to fill this thing up. Okay, it's a number that I had heard.
So it's like filling a swimming pool, right, is what you're saying?
Well, let me tell
And they don't have to mess with it after
Well,
that.
I'll give you an example. We just had to refill Rotary Swimming Pool today, 400 and some thousand gallons. So, and again, remember, water, as long as it's the way we have water in Lawrenceburg, we have plenty of water. We have never been under a moratorium in Lawrenceburg on water, never. Right after the flood, we did have kicked off, you had to boil water for about 2 days, 4 days, and then we don't have a water issue.
That's great.
Again, we're paying attention to that, and we're getting, as I told you, we're getting ready to build a new water treatment plant. There's a lot of things happening in water on that we're looking at with the state of Tennessee and with us, what that means to be able to supply water.
You realize we are in a severe drought?
Yeah.
And currently, we have been in a severe drought. Lawrence County.
Lawrenceburg is not in a severe drought.
Yes, it is.
It's not.
We've been in a severe drought for years.
Tell me anybody, have we asked anybody to not turn off the water, people out in the hose, watering their yards, do that?
That doesn't mean we're not in a drought, right?
Every year you can get drought assistance from USDA.
I'm talking about the city of Lawrenceburg, okay? The city of Lawrenceburg has plenty of water.
Can I show you? This is actually from the water department. I mean, I don't know, maybe they don't share it with you. All right, we're in the orange, we're Orange County, severe drought. This was as of May the 5th. Severe drought.
I think that's talking about rain levels.
It's actual drought, yeah. We are in a drought, and we're going to, I mean, we don't have, yes, we have water, but if we continue to give that resource to things that are not bringing in anything but tax dollars, like this data center, how long are we going to continue to have water? And then here's the other thing, this data center, it's going to have these resources no matter what. It can't do without. So if it doesn't have, then all the things that it's so precious to it are going to go away. So obviously it's going to take it from us. We will be blacked out, we'll be without water, and it'll be running.
I do not understand what it's taking from you. And I don't mean that, I'm just trying to understand what it is taking from you. You live on the Buffalo River. You have well water?
No, I have Summertown water.
Summertown water, okay, so you have a source of water right there.
And we have well too.
Okay, so you have water. What is the data center taking away from you?
It's the fact that we are actually in a drought in this area, and that's like no one's speaking about the fact that they say, oh, we have all this excess water, but we're in a drought. So who knows?
That's a water. We're talking about potable, drinkable water. We got 6 million gallons in the air every day, extra water sitting in the city of Lawrenceburg. Okay, 6 million gallons. Okay, we're going to have, when we finish the water plant, that'll push. We're building a new water tank right now in Etheridge. We'll add another 1.5 million gallons in Etheridge.
But it took how much to fill the pool you filled?
40,000 gallons.
Well, hell. So,
How
I
many
mean,
times
that's a lot though, when you think you've got 6 million, you use 400,000 in no time.
Yeah, but it's one day, we'll make it again the next day. Water, remember, water only changes form, okay? The same amount of water that was on this earth when Jesus Christ was walking is still here. It just changes form.
Not true.
Poison.
Yes, it is.
It's poison.
Yes, it is.
You need to get my
It's poison. I can tell you.
Water just changes form.
How many times do you have water detectors?
So when did y'all find out this was gonna be a data center?
One time, it's got another film that ever drops, so it's not no water. Yeah. It's like a float on the swimming pool.
When did y'all find out it was gonna be a data center?
When did we find out it was going to
When
be
the
a data
commissioners
center?
found out.
It's been, again, Nobody said anything bad about a data center. When TVA brought us something, we've been hearing about data centers for 10 years, okay? We've been hearing about data
So
centers.
why haven't you put it out to the public until it was a done deal? Because if something
That's
major
how
like
economic
that,
development works. I'm his twin, right? I'm Ryan and his twin. I'm Ben. Like, I don't hear anything, and I'm as close as anyone else in this room could even potentially get close to him, right? But I have a question about tax dollar play. So if, according to Ryan, this is, I don't get like direct memos from him. From the meeting Monday night, I believe, or Tuesday night, he said for every $10 million invested in Lawrence County, you know, like for example, this data center, some servers would be 40 million, I believe, or something like that, and then the real property was 13. So the math that I had, just for quick sake, that's almost $500,000 of tax revenue a year. And I hear a lot of concerns, complaints, and they're all valid opinions, and I absolutely respect them, as I'm sure Blake does, and my brother does, and everyone does. But I guess we need to talk more about a solution, right? So if we're going to have this tax income, what procedures are in place for the city to kind of protect some of these concerns?
Yeah, well, we protect with the water supply. LUS will be monitoring the whole thing, the way we do with countless other companies that are in the that we service right now. And then you'll turn around, they're capped at the amount of power they can use, 4.5 megawatts. What also, let's talk Lawrence County and power. That's one of the things, I still haven't got you, but I'm sorry.
Will LUS and TVA not be profit income then? So how can we trust their oversight of LUS? Is this funding LUS's new building? Like, how can we trust that oversight?
Well, we can't, everything can't be a conspiracy theory, okay?
No, it's not a conspiracy,
Everything
it's a
can't be a
question.
conspiracy theory on this. Look, no. LUS monitors tons of companies. They're in with, they'll be in Magna, they'll be in this, they're doing that. They're in companies all over the place. Graphic packaging, they're in there all the time. And the state follows up behind them and checks. You have to send the records to the state of Tennessee. They're monitoring that, or they'll come and do a inspection too. There has to be some trust.
Well, I'll finish with what I'm saying. That's perfect you said that, because there is no trust. You have now said that the data center is going to be a booster. Yes? Okay, well, Ryan on the radio said that it was going to be a storage facilities for probably somebody in the region. So where's the difference? Because now you're saying something different.
It's in the definition, and again, Joyce will tell you, I can barely get my computer turned on. And I'm pitiful. I'm pitiful when it comes to the computer.
You're supposed to be making these decisions.
But what I'm finding is there's all sorts of things that change and move it in one way or the other. Everything that we have found and what I know about this is as good as it gets in a data center.
But you're not saying why it changed from what Ryan said to now it's a.
And what's to prevent it from being
A booster, it's still a collection of data. What that data is, I've got my notes, I'm not gonna bore everybody by reading it, because there's all about the way it comes in, how the servers change this and move that, and it's a closer network tied to this and this, and I'm going, okay. As long as I turn my phone on and it works and this happens, I'm okay. But there's tons of different things. It may be there's something about a holding center when it talks about that kind of data. It's also talking about a fiber booster thing. Data's coming in, it's how quickly it's held and sent out. It's the same thing with like a relay, I guess, on a tower or anything else. It's probably milliseconds.
So it's not what Ryan said it was going to be.
It could be partially. Part of it.
So it might be closer to, okay, so when people talk about how does a computer work, there's what's called RAM and ROM. And ROM is going to hold on to more information, and RAM is going to hold on to a smaller amount of information, and then that gets distributed. So it's going to, so it possibly is that, which is it holds on to a certain amount of information, and then that boosts that along, as opposed to bigger storage, so that may be better.
And then there's a word in there that I didn't fully, the creative AI centers are these massive ones like the one in Gallatin. Gallatin is on 900 acres. And that's an AI full center. I think they got like 2 or 3 million square feet up there.
In which they eminently domain people's land for the TVA poles.
And Ryan is talking about that on
It's
Monday night.
interesting you said that. The mayor of Gallatin is a friend of mine, and I talked to her. And she said they have been, because that is owned by Meats, that own Instagram and Facebook. It's the company that owns them. Meta. See, I told you I don't know this stuff. And
They're still taking people's land and they domain whoever owns it, it doesn't matter.
I'd rather have my land than Facebook.
that all I know is everybody that they put the original 900 acres is what she was telling. They've been wonderful for their schools. They've been wonderful corporate citizens with them, what they've done with them. They have all of these internships with the children up there, all of these special things.
Still stealing.
Well, they had to, because they're
Water to TVA and the water. I'm sorry, for the electric poles.
To do what?
They're still eminently domaining people's property in Gallatin for that data center in order to put the amount of electric poles up across the city in order to power that data center.
Yes.
So,
And I don't.
One question here.
Okay.
Still, we keep getting back to, we're going all the way around the maypole and having another time. What you said, what it goes on interesting.
Okay.
So the main benefit, the city of Lawrenceburg is that $500,000 in tax money alone. That's it.
That's it.
That's the only benefit. No, think about this before you answer.
Okay.
Give me a truthful answer, what Blake Lake thinks personally as a Lawrence County and not just as a mayor. What is that gonna bring to Lawrence County other than a $500,000 tax bill every year? Now, think about it and answer carefully, like we're trying to do, be thoughtful with this. I don't want a political answer, I want a Blake Lake answer from your heart. That's what I want.
And it's not, it wouldn't be a political answer anyway. This whole issue is something that, again, I go back, the money's wonderful, okay? The money is not worth putting at risk any of our families, anything else about it. And know this, if I thought there was any danger, I'm raising, my daughter is here, my son's here, my wife's here, and what a lot of y'all probably don't know, probably the closest house to this data center is my mom's, okay? And if y'all think that I would put, y'all all don't know me, but I sort of kind of like my mom. I would not put her in danger to do something like
I
that.
don't think you know what you're doing.
I don't think you know what you're doing.
There's
You
no
don't even know the man
There's information all over. There's information, again, one data center is a model of the community. The other one, 30 million gallons, they lost over 15 months of water. So again, it's the community has to keep tabs, no different than we keep tabs on our corporate citizens, our companies, that we make sure they're performing good.
But if there's no danger, then why is other states banning them completely from their states?
Why are there so many lawsuits, like you said?
Texas, California, okay. California is the third largest. Texas is number 2, and Virginia is number 3, okay? What amazed me, if these things are also this bad, Nashville has 25 of them.
I know.
Okay. Why does Nashville have 25 of them?
Because there's no leadership there, and there's no here to stop
They don't care about it.
She has that one correct. They shall become a woke city. That's why they're becoming just like Los Angeles. Ask the people that live there, they've been there for 50 and 60 years, they'll tell you that.
Is it your understanding that a closed loop system has no waste? That a closed loop system has no waste?
The waste that whatever this is can be discharged into our system with no permits, no anything. No, all it is, I'm telling you.
It has waste here.
What can be discharged into what system, Blake?
Into our sewer system.
Which comes back
No. He asked, could you discharge it into the system? And my understanding is, if you had to flush the system out, okay, that you could flush it, because it does not have, like a plant that uses certain chemicals and things in our community, They have water treatment on site. It takes that water, treats it down to a certain level, and then discharges it out into our sewer system. We retreat it, we do what we do to it, and then it goes into the ecosystem.
So
It's out.
what waste is it? What is it made from?
The only thing that I found that's in it is the antifreeze in the,
You said that.
That's created, the science.
well, there's two of them. There's two types of them. But again, your car has antifreeze, there's this, but there's another kind. There's MEG and ME something. There's two different-
But y'all said y'all know this leader.
We have no interest in this or all of that, we don't have one of this.
Y'all said y'all know this was coming for years.
No, didn't say no, it was coming from years. I said that they had been data centers talked about coming here for over 10 years. They've been talking about coming to Tennessee, they've been talking about, you go to any town.
Can we say now that we just want to stop those talks? Let's just end it.
If y'all,
At the very least, let's just not have any more.
Then why didn't y'all mention it to the public when the first hint of it?
I mean, we could have had any number of businesses take up that same space, would have given you the same task, that would have been less harmful, and would have employed people.
$500 million in the budget of Lawrenceburg, I'm sorry, people, you and I both know that.
I just want to say, are we going to believe him, or are we going to?
My name is Katie Eagle, and I've been going to the commissioner meetings, and I didn't realize I also needed to go to the city council meetings. So in the commissioner meetings, I've learned that the Chamber of Commerce is given $150,000 a year from the county. And also, no, I was corrected on that amount. I asked tonight at the budget meeting, it's $150,000 from the county. They were not sure how much the city gives. Do you happen to know that amount? Do you match that amount?
What is it one?
So we work with Chamber.
Talking about tourism.
Three different places. We do, there's the Industrial Development Board that we are a partner of. There's the Chamber of Commerce itself, and they run the tourism program in the county, and hotel motel tax must be used for tourism, and so that money goes through the chamber for tourism.
How much?
I don't have it.
Okay.
Is that 100%?
I know.
Okay, hold on. I'm really tiring of everyone's interruptions. I really want everyone to ask to wait your turn to talk, because this is not how you run a meeting. So $150,000 comes from the county, and that's our taxpayer money. From what I've been told, I don't have an official amount yet from the city council. That is the city's taxpayer money. Therefore, I feel that we should have a say in this. And also, my husband works with the Amish, and you are losing Amish families. They don't come to meetings like this. They don't vote. They get up and they move. Just today, he sent me another text, and you're at 6 or 7 families that have already moved. We know that is a big tourism amount of money that comes back to Lawrence County. So I would ask that you please put a moratorium on these and future data centers until we have more information. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't know that's the best I
The Amish did let us count in the census this last time. I'm friends with some of the bishops. Yeah, they let us count in there's about 2,600 in all here now. And they are using the buggy lane too, which worked out pretty good for everything.
They don't like it.
Is there another data center being proposed? Because at the meeting last night, when Ryan mentioned that there was some $2 billion investment when he turned away from that and shrugged off that it would affect the neighbors. I really think that impacted a lot of people seeing that. And we'd like an answer on how many more data centers are currently proposed, and where will they be going?
No clue.
You're the mayor.
That doesn't mean, I don't mean no clue. Data centers are running around everywhere right now.
But I'm talking about Lawrenceburg.
Do not know definitely of any 1, 2, 3 that are running around, anything else. They'll show, well, you may get a phone call and they'll go, are you interested in a data center? What's the data center? Same way TBA, ECD can call and say, hey, we're looking around, we've got a company that does this, we'll do this, we'll do this. Are you interested? We don't hear all of that because we may do 100 RFPs a year. when we get involved is, you asked the other question of why we didn't do it. When we get involved on doing things is when your county executive, when we start giving away things, okay? When we start giving away land, when we start giving away changing property tax, when we start changing and doing this stuff, is when the city gets involved. What took place on this was strictly changing zoning. That's 100% what it is. We don't pick and choose what business goes there. He may be building a new aircraft plant. On your question, Mayor, as they go through the list of things, they'll see up 10 companies. We get briefed once a month on different things. A lot of times we still don't know what type of businesses are. And the state will also send down these bogus names. It'll be some, I don't know, the Magna was Gemini. Buzzwords from the state about, you talk about Gemini, didn't know what it is. So that is the issue on that. But I can't tell you yes or no. Is there more data centers? I'm sure there's other data centers out there that
Did
are
you
looking.
give an answer for us for that?
Yeah.
So,
Do we have any way to prevent a quote private property owner coming in and buying
No.
the farm out there
the
and
interesting,
developing it into an AI data center?
the interesting thing that you would know, that if they had bought on the other side of the railroad track,
Sharps Farm.
the other side of the railroad track, not on this side of the railroad track, on the other side, they could have bought it, built it, and done it, and you would have never heard about it. There'd be no zoning, there'd be nothing. You can go in the county and do it. We have no county-wide zoning.
But we're fixing that in September.
I don't agree with that.
Until we get some.
Again, that is the decision that has to be made by the people on your county zoning and that. And what does that look like? I know 3 different county execs have tried to look at that before, and you have totally 2 different sides of the. Nobody's telling me what I'm going to do with my land, but I'm going to tell you what you can do with yours. That runs into what the issues are.
they have to get permits for that. That could be their land and they can sell it, but whoever's buying and building it. gets
They gotta do
permits.
something. Not out in the county.
But can we do a
That's-
moratorium?
that's
Everybody asks, can't you do something about the asphalt plant? Because the Rogers Creek, the new plant out there,
That's what they do in my house. That's no problem.
I got umpteen phone calls about that, and I said, can't do anything about that. It's in the county. And, you know.
Sorry, I think she had her hand up.
Okay, absolutely.
Can Lawrenceburg create future zoning against data centers then?
I think it would want to be studied and looked at, yeah.
We would like it to be studied and looked at.
Yes.
And data centers, there's more information.
I don't fully, again, and I'm trying to get educated more and more on this myself. I'll be honest with you, I'm just trying to understand, because I see how good these things are in some areas, and what they are, and how they are, and what they're giving back to these communities, and
Besides money, what do they get back?
well, money's pretty important, okay? When you start building high schools and doing some of the things that these data centers are doing, you know, there's serious money that comes with these. And again, it's a balancing act on what you want to do and whether, and it is. There is a lot to be considered with it. To just go, no, I don't want any data center, or no, I don't want any, you know, I don't want any stamping operations. I don't want any chicken farms. I don't want anything. Whenever you just draw out.
Wouldn't it be grand for us to just have a referendum on the August election here like this, and settle this once and for all?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
If you guys are so sure that you're on the right track, let's prove that you got from now to August. Just get a referendum. I get that we can get 15,000 signatures in about 10 days.
Yeah, I think so too.
And we would probably help pay for the whatever part of the election had to be paid for in a private fund. I'd be willing to put some money in that hat. That's a solution that will make you look better. make everybody happy. And not just you, but seriously, it would take a lot of this fire off of you, and I know you're getting hit from all sides, I get that. But if you really care about what we think, how about let's try doing that? I'm all for that. Anybody else? What do you think about that? Now, I have one question that may be relevant in that, something I've been told, of course, everything here is not true, obviously, right? But you guys have already signed a contract with that company to let them build here. Is that true or is that false?
Nobody has seen, there has not been any plans submitted.
So we're in good
There's
shape.
There'll be no contract they'll sign with us, okay? Understand the only contract that will be signed, LUS will sign the contract to supply the power, water, and that.
Has it been signed? Do you know? Have they signed that?
I don't know that.
Whenever I went there.
I heard that would be signed. Now, like I say, there's been no official confirmation on any of that. That's what we're asking you. We expect you to.
I do not know that whether it's been signed.
Talking about
LUS, Mr. Pusser was videotaped claiming that this data center would be paying a certain amount of money monthly.
$400,000.
To LUS, $400,000 monthly. Is that correct? $400,000 monthly to LUS. That's a huge incentive.
To do
push
what?
this thing through without any transparency and without any
LUS is a public utility. The city of Lawrenceburg owns LUS, okay?
Right.
Okay. All of that is put together. So saying that I'd say there's bigger customers, I know there's bigger customers than that, probably.
That's pretty
good. Well, I'll tell you, 4.5 megawatts of power is what they're using. TFT uses about 7. In the days when Murray was rocking along, Murray was in the 11 to 12 megawatts.
The data center.
But they had it employed.
There were 3,800 people
When
working
TVA is telling you they have plenty of power in this area. We have 6 substations. I can't quote all the numbers of it, but electricity for us in this area is not an issue. Okay?
The 400,000 is also not what we're getting because they're giving 80% of that to a TVA. That is according to Vic Pusser on the WLS radio.
It may be what they're buying. Yeah, what they're buying. Because there's a pass through. I think they make 20. So I don't know the breakdown of it. I don't know the breakdown of what it is, but they may be writing the check for the company may be writing a check for 40,000, and LUS gets 20,000. I'm not sure what the breakdown.
He said it was an 80-20 split. They get 80, LUS gets 20. That's
I'll go with you with that. I'm not sure about that, and that's probably with every industry.
So, I mean, TVA would love to do that then. If they're getting that $400,000 a month, I get that's a pretty good deal for them, right? And of course, they're gonna be involved in bringing places like that here to improve their bottom line. But the truth of the matter is, it's not improving the bottom line in
Again, everything can't be a conspiracy. We can't not trust.
Look here, conspiracy and facts are two different things.
Yeah.
And some people, would you get on the fact side of this? This is not a conspiracy. You go and look at the numbers, you'll see. That's what we're doing, right?
So I know that Ryan had said there weren't going to be any incentives, there are no strings attached, and I think a lot of us find that really hard to believe, because that feels kind of like a bribe. You know, if you let us put this here, we will build you a school, or we'll do this for you, or do that. Are there any incentives?
Nothing.
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 There's no strings attached.
No
They
strings.
just
There's
want to
nothing.
come here.
Anything that's like that, anything your taxes, any kind of abatements, any kind of things with land, it's got to be, and there's TIF programs, and there's all sorts of different things. That's all monitored also, and again, in the state of Tennessee, the comptroller's office looks at anything like that because there's parameters of every deal back. And again, I go back. That's why we didn't look at this real good. Real not good. I mean, real hard because there was nothing for us to really look at. They were rezoning a piece of property.
But you guys, if you'd done one Google search, you'd have seen all the other places around the country, you know, that were up in arms. I mean, that one little small Google search on one person's behalf, and you just said, oh my goodness, maybe we should think this through a little bit, you know?
How many megawatts did you say it was gonna?
4.5.
So there's 6.5 acres in the building, it's 1.5 acres, what's to keep them?
It's not even that. I don't think it's,
4 times less.
60,000 square feet.
But there's 4 more acres that can be built on if they decided
But
to.
again,
There's no control.
it's their land.
Right.
And I mean, I'm just telling you, that's like me telling you you can't run cows on your land. I don't like cows, so let's not run cows on your land. Be careful when you step down into that thing.
I don't think people in our county don't want cows. That's right, they don't want data centers.
You'd be surprised.
Well, they don't want, we're clear that they don't want data centers. We don't wish that on can we do something to have them?
Can we do something like to have a moratorium? Is there not something we can do to stop any more?
Just at least slow it
How do we go about putting a referendum on the ballot?
What ain't the hit with that?
That's gonna be driven by y'all.
Yeah, but how do we do that? Do you know?
I don't know.
Who do we contact?
I don't know whether it would be, I wouldn't know whether you go to the county side. And it would probably have to be a county referendum, a county-wide referendum, if you did not want to do that.
If it was a county-wide referendum, would Lawrenceburg be prevented from putting permits for such a facility?
Yes.
Hey,
Now, and again, you're asking hypothetical what
I'm just trying to figure out how young we are. So what the city is.
Colby was first.
I'm Kobe Lewis, this is my wife Megan. You know us, we're the owners of Make It Sweet Bakery. I have no ill will towards you or anyone in this room because you've been in our bakery multiple times. The Chamber's been in our bakery a couple of times and done a ribbon cutting for us. So this is not coming from a place of spite or any type of negative emotions other than just pure concern because I've actually been doing quite a bit of reaching out myself to people who have worked directly with utility companies and TVA. I spoke with someone who was retired TVA 35 years, spent their whole life doing it. He just retired 2 years ago, good for him. I just spoke with someone 3 days ago who is he's so experienced with running utility companies that he's actually being offered a job an hour and a half away to basically build our whole utility system back up from the ground level. And what's got me concerned is I've heard numerous times from different sources about how, well, they said these good things, these positive things, these catchy things that's going to be all good news, and that's about how far we looked into it. It kind of has me concerned because he told me something similar that I thought at that moment sounded a little bit like a conspiracy theory, which is he said, I have experience dealing with data centers trying to move in different areas, as far away as Colorado. Which, speaking of which, there's a case in Aspen right now where a data center has used up so much power because they came in with promises of, oh no, we'll be independent. The city of Aspen went and told them, hey, residents, you guys got to find some kind of source of power somewhere else. We got to divert power. This data center cannot shut down for one day. And a lot of people are screwed. Even the smallest data centers require 5,000 to 15,000 residential homes worth of power just to run every day. And that's the small ones. One of my issues is that he told me that these data centers come in with all these big shiny promises because these small rural towns, typically, whether it's through apathy or through greed, which I'm not insinuating here, I'm saying that he has told me that they come in with all these shiny promises, and then within 16 months they come back and say, hey, oopsie, our power usage, we have to triple it. We got to tap into your local grid. He also told me the only way, I told him the square footage and the exact claims that we've been given, vaguely, albeit, is that the only way for them to be completely self-sufficient power-wise is to rezone several acres around it for a solar farm. So, when it comes to us needing to have a level of trust, and we have people in administrative positions here in this very room doubting if half the people here even pay taxes in Lawrence County, it's hard to have a level of trust when we're the ones putting the risk. So, I just want these people to know that democracies, they tend to be self-correcting eventually. And if there are negative side effects that come from this proposal, things will be self-correcting. And I don't want to see any huge radical changes in this town. I love living here. We grew up in Lewis County, which is 30 minutes away. We always have loved coming over here. We found a home a few years ago over here. We've been lucky enough to stay here permanently, open up a whole business, which we never thought we could do. But when it comes to the issue of electricity needs, Tennessee is third in annual blackouts. We're third. We're behind Texas and California, who are two of them. We are third.
I would have to see that, because the other day we had with an ice storm, what, 2 years ago, was the first time in X amount of years that power had ever went off.
According to 2025, now I understand there were storms, according to 2025, we were third in blackouts. Now, if it was just one storm that was the cause, I could buy that. The issue is that we're third despite being 15th or so in population, and the only two states that are in front of us are Texas and California, who are the two most populated states, and they also are the two of the three highest concentration of data centers in the country. The only exception is Virginia, who spent several years building specific infrastructure plans for data centers. So I'm just concerned that the people that are making these decisions are falling for car salesman tactics.
Yes.
And it's hard to have a level of trust when it feels like people's day-to-day information is being kept on a need-to-know basis. And I'm not insinuating anything like that whatsoever. I'm just saying, optics-wise, when you have the person that's spearheading this shrugging at the concerns of neighbors, on camera, it does kind of pushes away the ability to have blind trust in an entity that we know nothing about. And I just feel like, I know communication's hard, I know this. But from the moment that anyone heard about Waffle House or Aldi, that's all anyone talked about. We knew about it forever, and that was town-wide. So I feel like if there was a possibility this data center was actually going to be as positive for the county and the city as possible, I feel like at some point someone could have said, hey, potentially, we're getting rezoned. What would you guys like to see? There could have been something. I understand you don't want to scare off companies. I know that. I understand. But it just seems like there's a bit of a, not on your part, but it does feel like there's a bit of a dismissive nature to some of the people that are, whether it's intentional or not. I'm just saying the optics of how it's being perceived do come off as a little dismissive, and it's just something to keep in mind. Once again, not throwing any accusations.
No, and again, I hate we're standing here because we got one of the most special communities.
Yes, we love it here.
Okay, and it does bother me that there's in the community that people think that there's things going on, there's side deals, there's this and these things going on. And again, that's why I like having things like this. The question I was asked, if I still own the land. Right. It's amazing how much land I've owned, I guess, in this county. But and it really can hurt your feelings sometimes.
Yes.
But I know the group of people that you're dealing with, from the county side, from the Chamber of Commerce side. They wake up every day and say, how do we make our community better? And if y'all don't know me anymore, that's me too. I love what I do. But
we have no issues with you whatsoever.
It is, it's not always easy.
No.
On that, and I'm not making any excuses for anything else, but there's a fine line in this development, moving the community forward, growth. I don't want to grow, but you got to grow. And if you're not growing, you're dying. And again, it's just part of it. We love our life here, and I chose to be here.
And I just want one more thing to say, then I'll sit down and let anyone else have their turn. I believe you were next. I think someone else. But for future reference, I understand that we have like a ton of concerned citizens. It's a very emotional thing. It's very heated, and I get it. We have a lot of people who have a lot at stake to lose. I do think maybe next time it might probably be a little more efficient if we have like a questionnaire line. That way there's less interrupting, and because because I know that y'all are wanting to talk to as many of us as possible, and we seem to be circling around the same one or two talking points without actually getting to a resolution. So I do feel like next time if we have an open meeting like this, maybe like a timed questionnaire that people get in line for, that could help a little bit.
And I will tell you, I hate it takes something like this to do this, to get people involved and get out. I've been in office for 8 years. We started the come lunch with the mayor. We had the come to dinner with the mayor, come this and come that. We get 4 or 5 people come out, okay? And again, everybody's got lives, everybody's got things to do, but it has to be a two-way street in some of this things. When we offer, when the county and us say, hey, come talk to us, tell us that, come talk to us, tell us that. I mean, because it is, I go back, it's hard to communicate with people. It's hard to get messages out to them. And the end all is not Facebook. I will promise you, I know a bunch of people, you know, you take Facebook and you think everybody sees that. Well, no, there's a ton of people that do not see that. And so, again,
participation. I agree.
So I would like to ask a question. There's been a lot of things brought up about trust. Starting off the meeting, talking about the gazebo. I would love to hear more about when you're actually sharing this information. I came to the city council this morning and shared the different things that I've heard from people in the community, as well as the fact that there's not a lot being shared to us. I went through and did research looking at the December 11th meeting as well as the January 8th meeting and saw no actual public or conversations in front of the public. I watched the recordings from WLX as well, and things were immediately voted on. I also saw that firsthand at the meeting today. They put forward a resolution, and as soon as it was read, we instantly had a first and a second, and then someone else, I guess, decided, hey, we should explain what this is. And they explained after 2 people already said first and second, and that happened with both of the resolutions. So when are we actually talking about anything? That's
protocol. It has to be get on the floor, you have a motion, you have a second, and then you have discussion.
So where is the discussion happening for the data center? Because all that I saw from any of the minutes, are there private discussions happening that the public is not able to?
I'm going to have to take you back. Only thing that we were voting on is changing the property from.
But you knew that it was a data center there.
Yeah, there was a sign.
So did you not have any discussions about would our community want this? Would this be harmful? How sure it's going to raise taxes or bring taxes in, but then how is this going to harm the people?
Again, nobody in the scope of the people that were advising and saying that there was anything bad about a data center.
When would that conversation have happened with you?
It would happen with the TVA, with the ECD from the state of Tennessee, with the EPA, with everybody else that runs the gamut of recommending companies and recommending stuff to come into your community.
So when was that information shared with the community then? That you talked to these different sources, they said, hey, it'll be okay. When was that shared?
There was nothing to share. Because there was nothing. All that was said to us is, yeah, it's good, they're changing the property. That's all we were voting on.
So you just voted on changing the property, you didn't care what was coming there and how it would hurt us, you just saw the dollar signs that it would come. So you knew what was coming because you knew the revenue that was associated with it, but you didn't pause and say, wait, is this going to be good to come? You just changed it over?
Where's the consideration of that?
Yeah.
That's all we're asking for. What was our consideration?
Yeah, where was the consideration? Where was conversations happening about
this?
this?
Were we part of the consideration or were we not?
Well, in the
different question,
we I guess me personally, I didn't know there was any issues with the data center. Okay, point blank, there was no.
But all the rest of them in the world have issues with us.
Well, no, they don't. That's what I'm saying. They don't. And you go in and you look, and I literally spent this afternoon going through.
Only today?
No. I actually started a little before.
But you said that there's no way to talk to the community. We don't have animated billboards on that strip up there. We don't have a billboard on every corner going in and out of the county.
That's a very interesting idea.
I'm just saying, you say that there's no way to tell. They were here on the, people were here Saturday, but Monday we tore down something. Nobody could tell anybody anything.
You could also post signs up at the post office.
Correct.
Too. We do.
I mean, what about the little signs all up and down that strip?
We do it on Facebook.
You have those little codes.
It's a display of power.
I love it.
To crush that beautiful symbol. It's a display of power.
to take over our farms and waters.
This meeting is going to take the people that are gonna do what they're gonna do. It doesn't matter what you say.
He wouldn't handle things the same way, he's not gonna be transparent from this point on because basically of this. Do you have anything to say?
I did not see that, so I really don't want to comment on it, because I don't know what was said and not said, and on that.
Okay, I think it's pretty, I think WLX recorded
I think
it.
the community billable.
You was talking about Ryan saying one thing and then something else. He's been promising Etheridge to come up for years, and he has not once showed up.
Right, he said he was basically he was too forthcoming with this information, and he would do things different and not tell us much, basically.
Well,
what that-
let's also not throw everything out, okay? Step back just a moment. We are recognized as in the top 2 to 3 economic developments cities formed in the state of Tennessee.
Because we're being sold out.
No.
We're being sold out by the people here.
You're not being sold out.
We are. Because we're cheap. We are sitting here empty. Our land is free.
All I think
Your land is not free.
Exactly, it is. You're proving it.
We just need to raise the bar and our standard a little higher for the standard of living of the people that live in Lawrence County.
Well,
That's all I'm asking.
And also, look at the wins you've had.
Yeah.
You landed a company, F9, with the lumber liquidators. Lumber liquidators. Tell you that story just real quick. The reason Lumber Liquidators is here is because of the job that was done years ago with Cabinets to Go, and our workforce, and our people, and everything else. When the owners of that company bought Lumber Liquidators, they own Cabinets to Go too. They said, we're moving from Virginia, we're moving to Tennessee, we're moving to Lawrenceburg. So don't. You know, everybody has bad days, bad whatever else, but don't throw everything out on that. Don't throw Ryan under the bus because I'm just saying in general. It's been very, you know, it's been an eye-opening thing.
This is Mr. honestly, he had a lot of good things.
Well, you know, I had a phone call from a doctor, and her daughter is studying the data centers out in Colorado. They're studying one in Tennessee. And apparently, since that data center has opened, health issues have skyrocketed from calls from that data center.
The 13 of them in Memphis are
Well,
exactly where she's studying that.
Okay.
now in our
I guess my question is, who is the authority that we can bring in on data centers? Is it TVA?
No.
Is it TDEC?
No.
Is it the federal government? Is there?
national, the citizens of the counties that are taking over water in the world.
My biggest concern is there's so much information out there on these things. Again, I know you got lots of information, I know that.
But you're right, but you know,
who would you believe to come in and say data centers are terrible or data centers are great?
This is where,
I believe the states disbanded. I probably would believe the states disbanded.
Here's what I believe.
Because evidently they've got good reason why they're not allowing them to come in.
If any one of us makes a decision based on one outlet of information, we're fooled. This is where people misstep. You don't go to one source, you go to many sources. You've got to give us all the brains to make the proper decisions, but we have to do the homework. That includes the mayor, the county executive, everybody else. Before you all made this decision, you guys should have done your homework on this. You already admitted that you didn't have a lot of information on that. And I get it, I understand. You work part-time as a mayor, I wouldn't have your job. And most of us said, you know what? But you understand, this is not a personal thing at all. That's just, if everybody takes personal responsibility, and if we put that responsibility on the people of the county of how they want to protect our culture and our county completely, I think it's the best route to take. Always.
So you said about experts. I shown this petition results at many different city councils. And at this point, it's 3,357 Lawrence County residents primarily that have signed this and say that we want to have our voices heard. I would love to hear experts. I have called multiple times in city council meetings as well as online, wishing to have a town hall where we can bring all of Lawrence County citizens that are interested in hearing more. We can bring our elected officials. We can bring in experts as well that can educate us, because we're not experts in data centers. You're not an expert either. We're just getting the information that we're researching. So let's bring in the experts. You guys own Crockett Theater. That's not an expense that you're going to have to do. Why can't we fit 1,000 people, put experts, invite them in to talk to us so we can better understand that? I've talked to this multiple times.
Lawrence County High School.
Wherever it is, would you host that town hall?
Let me find out what it would take. Let me talk to the state.
It's a great idea.
Yeah. I think we should bring in third-party experts that are not going to benefit from this. TVA is getting money from this. They are not incredible experts. We need to bring people in from other nonprofits, other coalitions that have done this research, that have seen other data centers, bring them in to talk to us. And then after that, we can have a referendum, or we can decide what the next step is.
I think also what a lot of people is mad about is because something that major coming in, the people wasn't asked what they thought about it or if they even wanted that coming into their area.
The sign was put, when the planning commission heard the rezone, they were told at that point in time, it's my understanding, that it was going to be a data center, because that's what it said on the sign that the planning commission put up, that the codes department put up. That sign was put up in December of '95. That sign and all the, 2000, I'm sorry. 2000. It was in the paper. The sign was in the paper. The public just said when there's going to be the first reading, when there was going to be a public hearing, and the second reading, and not one person read it or showed up.
Well, most because you had to drive down that street.
You can't drive down the street and say what the sign says.
I don't drive down that street. You have to drive down the street. Did you drive down the street? Okay. Did you tell anyone else that it was put up there? That, hey, there's a sign about a data center. Maybe we should tell people to drive down this only street that it's posted, or hey, maybe you should pick up the newspaper, which the mayor has already said that a lot of people don't do.
Lose my battery. There was a question I had seen online, and I thought I'd pose it, because I would say, as far as all of it goes, I've got a little connection to it. So, some people have asked, since it's going up where it is, the proximity to two cemeteries. So I have family that's buried in the cemetery up there. I'm sure I'm not the only person in here. And so some people have expressed, online that I've seen, that the noise pollution from this could interfere with people trying to either have a graveside service or be able to access the places where they can be with the remains of their loved ones in whatever capacity, because it is in close proximity. That's not really my question. I'm asking this question in the sense of I want to give you a chance to kind of back here. So if that were the case, everything goes through, they build the place, it runs. If that happens and it becomes a nuisance that the community cannot participate in the usage of that public space because of sound pollution, is there something that y'all could do as our local government to work with them to remediate the issue that we have to our community? And I ask that in the greater sense of, if it happens, if it's built, and all of the boogeyman things happen, what is the process that you as our leadership can take to go to bat for us against it if it turned out to be a problem? Because I think that's a big issue a lot of people have, is they think once it's built, we walk away from it, but y'all are still elected officials and this is still a democracy. So what would you think would be the way to handle some stuff like that if it did get built, if it does turn into a community problem and we express it as a community and we ask our leaders to do something about it? What do you think would be a way that y'all could potentially do something about that?
Well, being corporate citizens, We have some wonderful corporate citizens in our community. And let's say the noise that's gonna be, is from the diesel generators that are going to be tested X amount, I think it's twice a month and stuff. If that is, there's nothing to keep them from testing those at night. The companies that do sort of weird things around town, you never see it because they work with the community to not do it. They'll do it as Sunday night, or they'll do this, they'll move this around and whatever else. They won't block traffic to be able to change things. So working with them and letting know the company's expectations of what your expectations and what you're willing to do with them is very important. And we've not had a company that I've ever been involved in the city of Lawrenceburg that wouldn't bend over backwards to work with, to accommodate and move something. So I feel solid that they were. But end of the day, if it fails and this company is not doing well and anything else, there's repercussions. The wonderful thing about America, you can sue them. You can go at it and say, we don't like this, get it, tie them up in suits, and do that. Now, you don't want that, that's your last thing you ever want to do, but if it got that bad, there's always that.
Was there any federal level ordinance about the decibel that can be put out in any business in Lawrence County or what?
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
I just wondered.
I don't know of one either.
There's not an overall thing.
The state probably has a limit for those, right?
Well, they have, there's state limits on all the sound equipment, not sound like your diesel engines and those things, your tractors, I mean, even tractors have nothing loud.
What I'm talking about the industry, what I in basically the data center for home.
I was just wondering, to take the heat off you, could you actually have a representative from this concern come and explain to us what their system is going to do?
I'm gonna find out what everybody is willing.
Yeah, I mean, their PR should be showing up here and quieting some of these concerns if they can, or either make them, I think a little information would really help.
Well, you were talking about the sign being posted out there. You're talking about a road that might have 100 cars at least.
That's where the property was being rezoned. We have to put it where.
And so nobody really sees that.
I took a picture.
Nobody sees the signs out there.
They don't. A little 12 by 16 sign and letters was so small, I had to get out of the car.
It was hidden because we had to drive by several.
You had to really want to get out of that sign to see it. I'll say, put it on there.
I would have felt like I was trespassing if I went down that street.
Yes, Mayor.
That country road.
Hey, 1 second.
Should have been a 4x8 or something, some big letters. I think more people done.
Well,
Would you commit to
if it would have been that
investigating and calling for a town corporation meeting like what Ms. McCann?
Let me come back, because I'm not on this, I'm not doing this all on my own.
Yeah.
Let me find out what it is, who I can get in, because it's gonna do no good if nobody shows up. Like, if I'm the only one that shows up, or this one shows up.
We need all.
We need to find out what that is and who can be there to talk. Y'all have heard all I know about data centers, okay? I promise you, I'm data centered. I don't know anything else to tell you.
All I'm asking you is if you'll commit to looking into that and putting it together.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for today.
Thank you. Thank you, Doc. Help us with that town hall.
Yeah, I've got a card if anybody wants.
Yeah, I do. Mr.
Let me go, son.
Appreciate your time. No throwing rocks at you, so don't work. You're in a position to help. That's what we're
Appreciate
I bring on